Stories from the Shadows is a Lemon Difficult studio production. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/lemondifficult for free access to all our podcast episodes, behind-the-scenes content for the Key of Dreams and more. That's patreon.com/lemondifficult. Welcome to Stories from the Shadows, a collection of weird tales of the mysterious and macabre, an offering from the team at Lemon Difficult Studio, featuring the cast of our live immersive show The Key of Dreams Shadows Lengthen, and special guests. These stories are dark tales of misery and woe. Listener discretion is advised. Today we once again bring you something a little different. As we've just heard a story strain, we follow with its captured souls, those fragments of the character's memory held fast in bottled lead. Today we share the memories of poor James, cut down in his tortured prime, written and performed by the fabulous Webster James of Strange Little Stories. Webster is a master of microfiction and creator of most of the souls you hear trapped at Treowen, as well as a selection of wonderful books. We also have the final moments of Poor Mary, performed by our very own Maxine DuBois before she became a fully fledged member of the Lemon Difficult family. But now, we cross to a village just outside Treowen, where a special broadcast of Borderline Radio is already in progress.
Borderline Radio presents Stories from the Shadows, pleasing terrors for the discerning listener.
It is said that in any old house, the dead outnumber the living. Nowhere is this more true than at Treowen Manor, where the voices of the dead can be heard if you know how to listen.
Many seeds grow in the shadow of the tree. The strangest relic that we ever, shall we say, for politeness, excavated? Well, my dears, amongst Mary and I's many dubious discoveries was a barrow in the Hope Valley that was most singularly wondrous to me. There, we uninterred a set of grave goods, arrayed in a most peculiar scene. The occupant, merely bone, was pierced through to the floor with 5 time-corroded blades, and clutched in their hands an earthenware bottle, sealed with wax and inscribed with strange symbols. While Mary was enamored of the inscription, I must confess it was the flask's contents that sparked in me a curiosity that demanded to be sated. Back amongst our collection, Mary translated the symbols and I devised a ceremony in which we offered a profane toast to that thirsty soul, broke the blades, and used the shards to open the flask. The thick liquid inside smelled of mint and honey. I drank it, of course. I was sick for days afterwards, but it was delicious. Rich and tart, with a syrup spice that clung to the tongue. There are many rare and maudlin oddities in our vulgar collection, but none fired my imagination like that flask. That is, I should say, until we came to Treowen and found the amulet and the book. We had never been ruffled by tales of curses before. Indeed, we found the idea of spirits staring across the veil with venomous longing to be quite delightful. You might ask me why we did not expect some comeuppance, given our transgressions. Let me put it this way. When my mother would bring me to Sunday services, starched collar scratching my throat, scent of whitewash on the walls, the preacher once sermonized about Jesus chasing the moneylenders from the temple. Well then, if wealth truly has no place amongst the holy, surely removing plunder from sacred places is praiseful work. It certainly always felt divine. But those nights spent at Treowen, the same imaginations that had illuminated the oddities of our work made that house hellish. I did my best to alleviate the fear for poor, sensitive Mary. She had always been more willing to dive into those fanciful, macabre tales, but never before had she fallen deep enough to drown. When we heard the howls rip through the night air, or felt the percussion of leather wings on the windows, I led her by the hand by lantern light and took her first to the gallery, then each bedroom, showing her that nothing lurked in the darkness. Then she would smile a trembling smile, and I would think my work well done. Only in my last moments did I think it was she who was playing along with me, pretending to be soothed by rationality so that I would not be overcome by fear. And as I felt the beast's hot breath on my neck, I was grateful for that. Briefly, roots run deep.
Many seeds grow in the shadow of the tree. There is much in our collection, James's and mine, that some would have considered holy. This is hardly surprising. Many of our treasures and wonders are goods interred with the dead. And it is the way of things that anything left long enough with the dead will become holy, even if it was not to begin with. Others are relics that would have been used in acts of long-forgotten worship. But forgotten is just another word for secret, and the hidden faces of the world are always fond of telling me secrets. Thus, there are some beings whose sole source of devotion, in all of likelihood, is myself. And believe me, I have been devoted. For here is one of the secrets that I know. Holy is just another word for malice. All these artifacts, our collection of terrors and wonders, they are teeth. Long, terrible canines piercing our world, a bite from predators beyond, grown fat and fell on our worship and our death. This is why I cling so tightly to my ceremonies, to remind the wolf at the door of creation that it is praised, that it is loved, and that it is beautiful, and that it should not close its jaw. Perhaps this is why James, poor, pretty, wild James, why he, I cannot say it. James loved our rituals, our prayers, our circles, and our offerings. He committed himself to them recklessly, hungrily, but he did not fear like I do. The terror was not in his bones, his blood, his soul. All my life I have been feared. The seeds of dread were planted in childhood when I first heard the whispers of the impossible words, and it has sprouted like a seedling all through me. James was my courage, my daring, my appetite. And when I laid him beneath the tree, I offered them up to the beast that took him from me. I hope James would have seen the maudlin jest in that. All I have now is the fear, still growing. Each howl in the dark, each shadow across the moon, for they water it well. Yet I am grateful to it. It is my stalwart companion. It bids me run from danger, hide from burning eyes, exalt the distant dark. It keeps me alive. And now that I know what I must do, perhaps the terror rooting in me will do what all trees do. It will reach towards the light. Roots run deep.
That is not dead which can eternal lie, and with strange beyonds, even death may die. So this story and song will say goodbye.
That was Stories from the Shadows, presented by Borderline Radio. Join us again tomorrow at the intersection of sanity and revelation.
Thank you for listening to Stories from the Shadows, an audio production from Lemon Difficult Studio. If you enjoyed today's story, be sure to follow us on socials and join our Patreon at patreon.com/lemondifficult for exclusive rewards. Members of our free tier have access to all episodes of Stories from the Shadows, as well as behind-the-scenes content and the latest updates on our live immersive show, The Key of Dreams: Shadows Lengthen. Until next time, dream by daylight.